Stars in the sky, cards in my hand, searching for signs, lost in the sand. Whispers of fate, echoes of dreams in the dark slate.
Good morning and welcome to the MyTarot.org morning reflection. Good morning, Maureen. Hope you are having that amazing day. So everybody around here is talking about the Aurora Borealis, which I did not get a chance to see last night here in the DC area. But apparently there was a pretty much a beautiful show going on. Unfortunately, I was out and about, out and about, as my Canadian friends might say, but I was out and about, so didn't get to see it. So, what are we doing here today anyway? We are doing our daily reflection, our morning inventory, morning reflection, where we flip that light switch, we listen to the cards, like to the sounds of the ocean. It reminds us that, oh yeah, we can breathe. I know I say that, but it's through repetition that I get it into my own noggin. So, breathing, and then that reminds me, oh yeah, feet flat on the floor and butt comfortable in the seat. Shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed. And it's all about checking in, looking for those angers and resentments and all that wonderful stuff. But we're going to see what the universe has for us today. Tips or tricks, any angers or resentments to... Boy, I'm like just... So, but basically, it's just checking in with the universe. So let's see what we have for today. I'm still amazed sometimes with that. Like I say, it comes down to the intuition of what deck to use. And sometimes, good morning, Lee. You probably go through this, Lee. It's like, I don't know. You probably use multiple decks, don't you, Lee? And it seems like it's just after years of doing this, there's so much emphasis, I feel, about using intuition. And it's like, which deck am I going to use? And it always seems just... the one I pick seems to be just right for that day. Because I really do believe strongly in developing our intuition and trusting ourselves. We learn that when we're younger. It's like, why did I do that? Why didn't I believe? Or the one thing that I notice people will say is that, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. So when I teach tarot, when I read for people, I always emphasize to people to just ask themselves, have you ever done that? I knew it. It's that high priestess inside of all of us. The wisdom is there. We just need to remember. So many, they tell me, yeah, every morning it's the same for me. Oh, and as a matter of fact, Lee, it's like when I saw you, this is the deck that you were using. This is my original decks are hidden away, but yeah, this is the deck. I was telling Lee, so I had gotten this deck when I was, it's one of the first decks I ever got. Started doing the tarot, and when I came back to do the tarot again after a while, I looked at these cards, and see how the backs are, and just they don't look like. They're not super gorgeous backs, and they're not, see how nice these backs are. And it's like, I'm thinking, oh, I want a deck that's got a beautiful back, blah, blah. You know what? It has nothing to do with the backs. It's one of those things after I started really getting in tune with the tarot where it's like, this is a darn good deck, and it doesn't matter what the backs are. It's that judging a book by its cover. It's that prejudging what's cool, all those things like that. And it's like, you know what? This is a perfect deck for me. Wow. Okay. And so, Jess! Good Good morning. Please, one day we will meet up again. Remind me, yes, I'm going to send you an email. I got an invite for you, Jess. So, anyway, I didn't do the 3 stacks this morning. And again, all this means something. It might be because I'm feeling pretty gregarious this morning, pretty outgoing. And all this means something. So for people who haven't been here before, it's like, because I was so just talking to people that I know and thinking about all these things, I didn't do my normal routine. And that means something. So I'm going to flip each card over one at a time like it's like they're pages on a book. But we need to take that all into consideration because things happen for a reason. And look at that. The first one is the Hermit. So what's the Hermit is telling me to remind myself? Maybe I'm getting a little bit ADD and bouncy this morning. Because what is the Hermit? The Hermit is about going to our mountain. The Hermit is about reflection. The Hermit is about taking the moment and seeing what we've learned and what we can learn. In that quiet, it's the things we learn in the quiet. But he's looking towards the past. And we have the 3 of Cups, but they're reversed. So 3s are about growth. And Cups are spirituality, emotions, feelings. So when you have a 3, a lot of times I put it like this. It's like 1 + 1 = 3, because it is about growth. And sometimes celebrating, decisions being made and things moving forward. But when it's reversed, something's blocked. And it's interesting because it's almost as if the Hermit has his back to it and almost ignoring what's going on. But let's take a look at the 3rd card here. It's the Queen of Wands reversed. So queens are the element of water and cards are gender neutral. They're not male, they're not female, they're masculine and feminine energies. And so queens are that feminine energy. Wands are fire and energy. And so when the Queen of Wands is reversed, and again, court cards can be us or they can be somebody else or just part of a situation. But sometimes it's about that steam that builds up. Sometimes it's about that fire that burns out of control where we can get angry, where we can get judgy, where we, again, it's just kind of fire in ourselves when we need to watch what we're doing, our emotions, how we're feeling. So looking at something like this, and again, this is almost where the intuition comes in, because it's almost as if the Hermit is reflecting on the past, but what is he ignoring? What has he got his back to? And what is it that we're ignoring, that we're not seeing, that we have our back to, that might be affecting other people? Sometimes when we get isolated, sometimes we just get frustrated with the world, people around us. We go to our mountain just to isolate. And we look at the past, we look at where we were, where we're coming, but we're not looking at those around us. And this can have an effect because there may be somebody in our lives who we have our back to that, and I'm talking about we could be staring straight at somebody and still have our back to them because we're not listening, because we're so busy reflecting on our needs and who we are and what we are that we're not doing the 3 of Cups, which is involving other people. the other people in our lives. And this can affect our relationships. And then we're like, what's your problem? When somebody acts like the Queen of Wands reverse, what did I do wrong? I haven't said a word. That's the problem. I haven't said a word. I may not be realizing the chain of events, the things that we cause when we don't say that word. So I'm going to flip over the advice card, which is the Fool reversed. This is a 50-50 stack. But what is a fool but just being oblivious? What is the fool but in a situation sometimes like this, just walking off a cliff and not even realizing it? Whereas if the Hermit will just turn around and reflect, then our actions do influence those we love and those around us. And sometimes we become, and it could just be, the main thing is sometimes if you've ever been in that situation where you've said, I didn't do anything wrong. What's wrong? Why are you mad at me? And again, sometimes just spiritually having our back to somebody because we're so self-involved. We've maybe isolated ourselves that we influence those around us. And because we've isolated ourselves like a hermit, we may not even realize it. So what is isolate? Emotionally, with our affections, or with just us acknowledging something, because sometimes we just act like we're oblivious. And as we take those extra steps right off the cliff, because we ignore it, we may be the cause of that strife, or we may be the reason, if not the cause, we may be the reason that the strife was allowed to continue. Today, let's look at those around us. Let's look at what we can do to not be so isolated with those people that are in our influence. And let's see if we can notice if maybe there's something we need to do to help them. Maybe it's us being humble enough to say, hey, maybe I've been wrong, and disjoint or isolating more, or just not talking to you, or sorry I haven't picked up the phone for a while. But it's just that small step to maybe we can reflect, and maybe we can turn this card around. Which now, isn't that beautiful? It's like I've been reflecting and I've turned the Hermit into this positive thing. And now I want to call you. I want to acknowledge you. I want to say, you know what? Let's have a toast. Because if we can do that, then imagine what would happen to their lives and the influence that we can have just by turning these around. It turns into an amazingly beautiful story where we've had this positive influence. And even if we turn the Fool around now, it's like, you know what, this person can enjoy and be more carefree. We're not being the fool where we're just going to walk off a cliff. So let's turn this into this beautiful story here that says, one day I realized I had been isolating myself up here on the mountain. And I realized I haven't talked to you in a while, so I picked up the phone. How are you? You may not even see it on the other end of the phone, but this is the result of that. And then this is what they go on to. So, I know I dragged that one out, but I started out a little bit ADD this morning, which means that I was not looking around. I was not paying attention. So in my life, I realize that I need to take a breath today, let my adrenaline level drop a little bit, and then reach out to somebody else. So that's how I'm going to see this as an influence for the day. Maureen, Jess, Lee, everybody else here, please have an amazing day, that amazing weekend. And I will be back on Monday. And I feel really positive this morning, especially after this reading and maybe feeling like I've had the blinders taken off. So everybody take care. And I will talk to you again on Monday. See you later.